Good evening, my lords, generals, and admirals. Welcome to Total War Wednesday, and welcome back to Empire Total War, the Road to Independence campaign, where I, General Smuggler, lead the colonials into the road to independence against Great Britain and forging their mark in the New World. We're going to continue with the Road to Independence campaign. First, we started with episode 1, the Jamestown Colony, where we saw the brave Captain John Smith take control and lead the colonists through the winter and expand the 13 colonies. Now we jump into episode 2, the French and Indian War. This will be a multi-part episode, so bear with me. Our campaign difficulty will be on normal, and our battle difficulty will be on normal. Episode 2, the French and Indian War. The French and Indian Wars began as the result of British and French rivalries in North America, or a part of a larger, globe-spanning conflict between the two nations in 1754. Both countries wanted control of the Ohio Valley, an uncharted but potentially valuable area. Each built a chain of forts into the valley to stake their claims, and conflict was inevitable, as struggles between the native tribes were used to foment further trouble. The war was a tough experience for the British. Both sides quickly realized that alliances with local tribes would be an asset. The French were better at using the North American terrain to their advantage, and early clashes saw heavy British losses. However, it was during this conflict that a young officer called George Washington began his military career. To secure America, the British must remove the French threat, take control of the Ohio Valley. Fort Niagara must be in British hands if an attack on the southern fort of Louisburg is to succeed, and allow a campaign northwards to Quebec and Montreal. So with that, let's begin episode 2, part 1 of the French and Indian War in the Road to Independence campaign and Empire Total War.
As time went by, hostilities between the natives and settlers began to fade, and more ships carrying the hopeful arrived daily. Over the next 100 years, the population swelled, and the fight for territory began. Both the British and the French set their sights on the valuable Ohio Valley. And when the French built a line of forts across the valley, I was sent to demand the instant withdrawal of their troops. They refused, and the British retaliated by sending an army under General Braddock to take the valley by force. I was unlucky enough to be an officer in that army. Braddock's limited knowledge of his surroundings and his refusal to listen to counsel led to his downfall. He marched us straight into a French ambush. Our men were massacred. The cries of the wounded still haunt my dreams. This terrible loss encouraged the British to take a closer look at the tactics and cunning employed by their native allies. Use of these warriors and their knowledge of the land would prove to be the key to claiming the Ohio Valley.
The French have established a series of forts in the Ohio Valley. These forts are well defended and will be difficult to take through military force alone. Perhaps the Iroquois tribe to the north will provide you with some much-needed assistance.
We have a mission issued, form an alliance. Our objective is with the Iroquois Confederacy. You have been tasked to form an alliance with the local Iroquois tribe. The skills and knowledge of their warriors will be of great benefit to you in the war against the French. Instigate negotiations by clicking the diplomacy button. Our reward will be 500 coin. We shall request a trade agreement and request an alliance. What's to them? And they have agreed. And we have earned 500 coin to our coffers.
Now that you have negotiated an alliance with the Iroquois, you will be able to recruit native warriors to bolster your armies.
Fantastic. And we've been issued another mission. Our objective is Fort Niagara. The British government has ordered you to capture the settlement of Fort Niagara. The fight across of North America cannot continue until you have achieved this mission. The only direct route to Fort Niagara is guarded by the heavily fortified Fort Duquesne. Although an alternative route may exist, through the forest in Iroquois territory, engaging in diplomacy with Iroquois and gaining military access through their lands may prove an easier route. And a reward for that of capturing Fort Niagara will be to unlock Chapter 2, which will be Part 2 in our series of the French and Indian War. And with Iroquois firmly having a military alliance and trade agreement with us,
Lord?
We're going to move Washington to Fort Cumberland.
Forward! March! Ready for order.
And we'll move William Johnson to the fort as well.
Men, forward! Ready and waiting for orders.
But here in Woodstock farmland, we're going to construct some peasant farms. And we're going to recruit some colonial militia. And with that, we shall end our turn. And we have a building constructed. We have some peasant farms in Woodstock farmland, Virginia. A little rundown. The basis of all agriculture is the humble peasant, laboring in the field to bring in his master's crops or to keep his master's animals alive. Day-to-day life for the peasant farmer was barely changed in 1,000 years. It is a short, hard life of abject poverty and backbreaking labor. He can expect nothing better than to work and die in the same village, tilling the same fields, his life bound by the same horizon. Peasant farmers are not terribly efficient. The landowners have little interest in anything beyond their rents and tithes. The problems for them is that peasant economies are, by their very nature, cash poor, and most income is in kind, and there is a limit to where you can spend a goat. Historically, life for a peasant was pretty much the same all over the world. Work from dawn to dusk. In Russia, the peasants were serfs tied to the land and the property of the landowner, as much as any cow or goat. In India, peasants were a caste locked into their social position by hollow custom. The system eventually broke down in Western Europe thanks to industrialization, needing a constant supply of workers and changes in land usage. And we have a unit recruited, colonial militia out of Virginia. But here in Clover Plantations, we're going to construct a small tobacco plantation. And raise another unit of colonial militia. But up here in Fort Cumberland, there's Fort Duquesne. We could march up around this way. I don't feel comfortable about that woods. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the army. Leave one unit militia. And we're going to march on Fort Duquesne.
Any further orders? Anything more?
And since we went the route to capture Fort Duquesne, we've initiated the mission to capture Fort Duquesne. If we capture Fort Duquesne, we'll get 500 coin to our coffers. And we'll continue to march to Fort Duquesne.
Arms!
Here in Williamsburg, we'll grab our militia and march them to the Fort Cumberland.
Make ready! March! March!
And we'll grab our unit that we left behind.
Ready and waiting for orders.
And we'll link them up.
Waiting for your orders.
And we'll end our turn. Back at Williamsburg, where we put another unit of militia. We'll wait till the Clover Plantations gets built. But in the meantime, we had another unit of colonial militia recruited.
Ready and awaiting orders.
We'll swing up to George Washington. And we'll attack Fort Duquesne.
Prepare for battle!
And we'll continue the siege.
Siege works underway.
And we'll end our turn. And we have a building constructed, small tobacco plantation. Clover Plantations, Virginia. A little breakdown. The plantation is an estate carved from the Virginia forest of a new territory for growing one cash crop for export to the home market. There are tremendous profits to be made in growing crops to satisfy the demand of luxury goods in Europe and elsewhere. There are also tremendous risks. Crops may fail, slaves may revolt, and once a cargo is gathered, the ships carrying it home may sink. Plantations are labor intensive, especially during harvest time. They would not necessarily be profitable without indentured or slave labor. Slaves are self-explanatory, but indentured labor was the result of the European taste for transporting convicted felons to their colonies. Once a criminal arrived, several years of forced or cheap labor would be imposed on him or her. In this indenture, would be traded to a plantation owner. It was possible to buy out an indenture and become free, an option that was rarely available to slaves. Originally, the English word plantation was used to refer to any colony planted in any new location. Even the Scottish settlers in Ulster were a plantation. There was no implication of farming one cash crop. And again, out of colonial Virginia, we have colonial militia. And with that, we'll move one colonial militia up to Fort Cumberland.
Immediately! Anything more?
Back in Bloomsburg, we're going to construct a governor's palace, or governor's residence.
Settlement under siege. Prepare the troops for battle.
And back up here in Fort Duquesne, we're going to go ahead and assault the fort. Range the hill, handsome with guns. The battle begin. the enemy general. have a heroic victory.
The siege is lifted. Form line for battle.
We have captured Fort Duquesne. We have received 500 coin to our coffers. And with the capture of Fort Duquesne, we're going to repair the fort. And we're going to replenish the men. And with that, we shall end our turn.
There is a port in this region that has not yet been developed. Select the type of port to construct here. A fishing port will help your population grow. A trade port will provide an income from overseas trade. A naval port allows the construction of warships.
And in Yorktown, we shall construct a shipyard. And we'll keep Williamsburg garrisoned. We'll keep Cumberland garrisoned with 2 units so far. And we'll continue to replenish the men. And we shall end the turn. And with the men quarterly halfway finished, replenished, we'll end our turn one more time. And now the army is all replenished. Oh, besides this one ranger unit. That's okay, we'll just keep him at 60. Oh, we have a construction report. Williamsburg, Virginia. We have a governor's residence. And Yorktown, Virginia. We have a shipyard. We're going to come down here to the shipyard. We're going to build a dockyard. In the meantime, we'll just hold off building any ships. And we'll hold off building the government council. But we'll swing back up here to Fort Duquesne. And we'll leave it just one unit of militia behind. And we'll march on Fort Niagara.
Any further orders? Commence siege!
And we'll maintain the siege.
They hide behind women's skirts. Ha!
We'll bring up one unit of colonial militia from Cumberland up to Duquesne.
By the left, march! Waiting for your orders.
And we'll bring up our unit militia we left behind to regroup with the army.
Any further orders?
And with that, we shall end our turn. And we shall assault Fort Niagara.
Arms!
We shall assault. An orthodox formation, but you'll see why. Let the battle begin. And we have a victory. And we shall end the battle. And we have a heroic victory. But a costly heroic victory.
The siege is broken!
And we have successfully captured Fort Niagara. And we have unlocked Chapter 2.
You have successfully captured Fort Niagara. The Ohio Valley is now firmly under British control. However, the war against the French has now escalated across the entire 13 colonies, and it's not going well for the British. You must do what you can to help them overcome the French.
With that, my dear lords, that concludes Part 1 and Chapter 2, The Road to Independence, the French and Indian War, for Total War Wednesday. Join me next Wednesday as we dive in to Napoleon in the British campaign on the peninsula of Spain. And also join me later on today for some Hell Let Loose with the 2nd Infantry Division and the 65th Illinois. Stay tuned.